Good evening and welcome to Inside Government, a show produced for the spring 2022 semester here at Cayuga Community College and broadcast on Spectrum, Verizon, Fios, the Auburn Regional Media Access, better known as ARMA, as well as the college's radio station, Win 89.1. I'm the college, which is the college's radio station. I'm your host, Guy Cosentino. We are delighted to have in our studio today the president of the college, Brian Durant, who has headed the campuses in both Auburn and Fulton since August 2015, so he's coming up on his 7th complete year. For 2 of those years, he's had to deal with COVID-19 and the worldwide pandemic, keeping students, faculty, and staff safe. That has not stopped the college from opening a new facility in Auburn, the new Culinary Institute downtown, and they're about ready to open up their new Advanced Manufacturing Institute up in Fulton on that campus. And they're working on a workforce development center at the former Cornell Cooperative Extension Building on Grand Ave. For most of you, that's next to Lasca's. But we have asked the college president in to talk about these projects, how the college has dealt with COVID, and also talk about major changes in the way the college does its commencement ceremony in May. Welcome back. Great to see you here.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Not that I don't see you every day now in the office next door, but how have you dealt with COVID? Forget the college for a second. How about you and your family? You all well and safe? And
Yeah, we are. Much like everyone else, this has been I think a challenging time that pushes us both, personally and, professionally. But, obviously, my personal priority continues to, do things that are best for my children and I and our family, and, balancing that with, the responsibilities as president of the institution to be able to ensure compliance with our, for our institution when it comes to the state and local officials, and really trying to do what's best for our students during this time, and really sort of an unexpected reality that our students have had to endure, over the last couple of years.
So the 10,000-foot level, what has been, we can get into the minutiae in a minute, but what's been the general impact of COVID on Cayuga?
So I think the general impact and the largest impact that I think most can relate to is, going back 2 years ago, I think around this week actually.
It is.
I think it's really there. All of our students had to go fully remote, and our workforce at the time, and that was something that
you didn't shut down.
We didn't shut down. Our operations have continued. Our semesters have started and ended as scheduled, and the work of the institution by providing education courses semester by semester, term by term, has continued throughout the entirety of the pandemic. How we deliver that education and support our students has been the biggest change from the highest level.
So has COVID impacted your enrollment?
We did see, an enrollment downfall of each of the last couple of years. And, we're also seeing in certain semesters, particularly the first semester or two after, March 2020, where, some students who perhaps didn't want to, enroll fully online were taking a break from college, and we understand that. And so we have seen an impact of our enrollment, but we have seen, a growth in our area of, supporting students online and trying to find the positives. We've also seen a growth in the way that we're able to serve students from a distance in an improved area.
So Cayuga was a leader in online education long ago. This was something developed, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
So were you prepared? Did that help you be prepared for March 2020?
Absolutely. Our faculty and our institution has had a really deep history of providing several courses online. And many of our faculty members had been trained, they're experts in delivering education online. And so that certainly gave me confidence that we were well positioned to offer more online and to support students. And so, we certainly, within a moment's notice, had to put more courses online, and some of our students perhaps hadn't enrolled online before. But our faculty and staff, with no surprise to me, their commitment to our students and certainly their talent have served us all very well.
So you talked about you're taking a hit. I know the previous chancellor, who's no longer there, he had a piece widely distributed, as you know, from the New York Post that showed that I think there was one exception, and I think it was Broome County for some reason, all community colleges took a hit, but oddly enough, the fours did not. First of all, was that true? And B, if it was, any idea why?
Yeah, I can't speak to the 4-year schools, but for community colleges across the state, we were already in a moment of decline for most, and part of that relates directly to the state demographics, and they continue to project to have some decline in high school enrollments, so that we were already experiencing. But I think when you added on top of it the challenge of students being able to enroll, face to face, or perhaps delay a semester to see what happens with the pandemic, perhaps more students were taking the choice in that. When it comes to global enrollment at 4-year schools or other institutions, I think everyone has had their own challenges, and part of the challenge is to meet the student expectation. I think part of the challenge is to meet the health and safety protocols that have been in place. But I think the learner, the prospective student, the current student, given what the restrictions may or may not be at each independent college, given their experience and perhaps learning remotely or online, I think they're making informed decisions on when the best time is to enroll and how to best pursue their higher education.
So you mentioned protocols. You have the lucky experience of having to deal with directives from the state of New York, SUNY, and Cayuga County, the trifecta.
The trifecta.
So a couple of questions. Am I correct? So sometimes they may not all be on the same page. I know you find that hard to believe, but there are times. But many of the health protocols, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Right.
You're taking direction because SUNY has said the following. This is the policy.
Absolutely. So we're fortunate to have the guidance and support of our local health department, and let me just say that they have been tremendous. They have been tremendous. Those of us that are educators and have gotten to our world because of our passion for education, I can't imagine anyone thought they'd be in a position to lead an educational organization in the moment of a pandemic. And so having the support of our local healthcare officials and certainly our
people like Kathleen
has been important. Kathleen's been tremendous, has been important. We also have been fortunate to have the resources of State University of New York when it comes to the guidance at the state level. So certainly if something happened through the executive, level of across New York, that's always been something that we have to be compliant with. And then the State University of New York, I think, has done an excellent job of, providing guidance for institutional compliance with those particular requirements, as well as at moments, I think, identifying specific initiatives that each SUNY college should have in place to be able to support students in a consistent and safe way.
So students have to be vaccinated.
That is an example of one of the current SUNY policies, that all students need to be vaccinated and, if eligible, boosted in order to be compliant to maintain any on-campus, and that's an important distinction, any on-campus
so they can do
obligation
remote.
or enrollment.
They can do remote.
Yes, if a student is not vaccinated, they can do remote.
How about employees?
Employees at this point, although it's been encouraged to be vaccinated, employers are not required across the SUNY system or here at Cayuga Community College.
Were you surprised at that?
I am surprised at that, although I think when it comes to, the labor implications or other realities, what I understand is there has to be probably more of a local process to have it be considered and to be explored. And I know that our leadership and each of our respective labor organizations, our College Board of Trustees, have been supportive of the notion to find the equity with our students. And we do have, I'm grateful to say, we have a very high percentage
of vaccination. Well, I was going to say, you have a very high
our employee base.
Because they've informed you because they've either shown a card.
Exactly.
Because you still do require, well, first of all, you require masks. Do you require masks anymore?
We do require masks for those that are not vaccinated.
So if you're unvaccinated, you have to wear a mask.
If you're unvaccinated, you're required to wear a mask. And, at Cayuga Community College and all the other SUNY institutions, there has been a testing requirement for all students and faculty and staff going back, nearly 2 years at this point.
So I went about an hour and a half ago because we have to do it once a month, but I did. You and the college are gracious enough. Any employee who wants to get tested more often can
Yep.
do it once a week.
Yeah, I did mine yesterday.
So in that particular case, that's still required. You see that still as a requirement for the
Yeah, that is
foreseeable.
still a requirement of us, and we still have it in place. Those that are unvaccinated must do surveillance testing weekly, and those who are fully vaccinated, we're still offering a minimum of once a month requirement.
And you still do have a lot of employees. I mean, for example, I'm vaccinated. You know that,
Right.
but I wear a mask for the most part all
Yeah.
around campus. That's not been a big deal. It's more so if you're unvaccinated, you want to make sure those people are wearing.
Absolutely. No, we encourage each individual to make the choice that they're comfortable with. And so, to wear a mask, even though you're fully vaccinated, we're not an organization that's certainly, making any, acknowledgement of that or saying, why would you do that or any judgment. Right. We encourage it. And it's really, it's mask optional for those that are fully vaccinated.
So let's talk about money, because that's one of your responsibilities. Right. So how did COVID impact? Obviously, it impacted on the enrollment piece, and that is a significant piece. But overall, how did COVID impact your budget?
So, from an institution, we certainly saw a loss of revenue that was, more dramatic than we anticipated based on enrollment, as we've discussed. And that obviously results in something that is, that was greater than we anticipated. In a positive way, through the support of the federal government, through the different CARES Acts, that's I think more of a common way that people know it. We have been able to use those resources, those funds, to support the college budget and recognize that lost revenue, and that has been an important piece for us over the 2020 and 21 year. And 21-22, the year that we're in now, the academic year that we're in now, we were also able to use some of those funds to help us based on that lost revenue, to help us balance our budget, which saves positions, I think saves programs, and really has allowed us to also not increase our tuition during this time. We haven't increased our tuition over the last 2 years as well. So the CARES funds that came from the support of government and through the compliance programs that SUNY has put forth have been a tremendous help for our institution to not use more of our fund balance, as well as to add additional local resources to our budget without increasing student tuition or student fees, and to be able to have a balanced budget.
Do you know how much you've been able to get from Washington and Albany overall?
We've over $6 million over the last 3 years.
And some of that money has to go, you just mentioned, everybody's got to get tested.
Right.
There's a cost to that.
There has been a significant cost over the last, year and a half for testing that we've had to spend just on the surveillance testing, the staff associated with supporting that testing, sanitation, improvements and enhancements that we've been able to do. And so, a great deal of cost increase have come in that area that those funds have also been able to,
And the remainder of the money you've used for college expenses and
appropriate college expenses. And the other sort of innovation piece of those funds has allowed us to purchase some technology to, enhance what we do online and from a distance. And, we're offering more sections that are sort of synchronous. And so instructors are live presenting material or lecturing through, video and technology that we've been able to use that not only has helped us during the pandemic, but continues to help us as we have a combination of students on campus and working from, taking classes from home or, from a distance.
Just out of curiosity, if somebody's taking a course remotely, is it more expensive or is it the same price as a normal credit?
The tuition is the same price. It is, as a unique course, there's a course fee related to online fee for the course itself, but that's the only difference.
So during all this, that hasn't stopped you from doing projects. Am I correct on that?
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
We've tried to balance the getting through the day-to-day and the critical moments with also trying to have, maintain our visioning for the future beyond the pandemic and as the institution continues to look ahead. And projects have been a big piece of our work.
So let's talk about one that's completed, one's near complete, and one's on the books. Right. First one done. Culinary Institute, new Culinary Institute. What is it and where is it?
So the Culinary Institute was a new endeavor we've talked about for years. It's in downtown Auburn. It's located in the Plaza for the Arts building. That particular project would not have been possible for those that have been paying lots of attention to without the DRI, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative that the City of Auburn was able to
And the
secure.
college was one of
And
the
the
big
college
winners.
was one of the projects, and we received $800,000 in that grant that allowed us to build a state-of-the-art culinary center in a prime location downtown, which we are very proud of. Last summer, we were able to open that particular facility after a couple of years in the making, and we were able to have our now governor here, a lot of other local elected officials, to celebrate with our incoming cohort of students, and it was a wonderful
So you've
event.
got students there already.
We have students in the facility taking our credit-bearing program. Last fall, we offered a number of community-based programs, and in the coming weeks, we'll be rolling out some more programs for the community to be able to enroll.
So let's talk about the academic program. So if you go, well, first of all, describe it, because now if you walk by and you can look in the windows, you don't most likely get a good idea. And you had your opening in July, and then we went into the academic season, so you had classes, and then it's not generally open to the public. So if you go in there, there are how many stations?
So we can serve. I think our ideal setup here at this point is we can have, generally, between 12 and 16 students. There are a number of stations that can be shared. But I think when you talk about describing the facility, one of the things that I think has had a little bit of confusion is that, as an institution, right, as a college, we are here to educate and train. So our main priority for this facility at this point and for the foreseeable future is to have programs, both credit and non, that people, students, can come in and learn how to cook, take courses, build skills, and prepare themselves for work. And so the facility itself, because you mentioned about being open, the facility itself is, at this point, it's not open for sort of use for lunches or dinners on like a restaurant, and that's never been our design.
Right, but you wouldn't be able to come into, let's say, I hope I pick a room that's not non-existent, but you can't go to Main 225 and just walk in as a member of the public. You got to be there for a purpose.
Right. And so, but I think when you're talking about something like culinary, and we're talking about the wonderful things that our students are creating and our faculty and staff that are tremendous, that I know that there are people in the community that are hopeful of what else it could bring, and I think that our main focus at this point continues to be on building the pipeline of future chefs and being able to offer programming where people can come in for different experiences.
So everybody has a station, kind of reminiscent to me, because apparently in my house we watch a lot of the Food Network. They're like Food Network stations.
Right.
Everything's there for a student to learn. And so if you only have 12 or so stations, these are not large classes for a given year. But you walk out of here with a degree.
You walk out of here with a degree, and as our reputation continues to build, we know that local, regional, and beyond restaurants will be looking to hire our graduates and be able to give them even more experience to help them propel their careers.
So in part, this was open because you did get a lot, as I understand it, you did get a lot of requests from whether it's the Inns of the Finger Lakes or Guillermo at Osteria or the folks at the Brew Pub or Sean Lattimore up at Springside Inn, and I'm going to stop there, but I'm going to get in trouble because I left somebody, Lascas, wherever. Lascas gets a further punt when we get to the workforce development. They have come to you and said, we need people trained, and there is a market out there for that.
Yeah, and this is a great example of a project and something that was really being explored even prior to my arrival. I know Steve Keeler, one of our division chairs, was part of creating this program and talking with him and learning from him, the goals of what this program could be, his connections and other connections with industry that you're mentioning. Together we know that tourism and hospitality is a major driver of the Finger Lakes region. And as a community college, it's our responsibility to help support the industries as best we can and try to cultivate, interest in the field and try to help develop and support our students. And so working with faculty, working with partners, like Dan Souls and his company, we were able to find the right facility, have the right private partner, and then having something like the DRI come together, we were able to make it affordable for the institution to be able to and go down this road, and then align a curriculum that supports the industry need that you mentioned.
So did you have any issues with did COVID? Because we heard all about the supply chain. I know you would hope to open earlier. Did COVID impact?
It did. We actually were hoping to open about a year earlier, and with the pandemic, it slowed down. Certainly the limitations during, I think, the pause when it came to the requirements for workers to be able to meet, for safe on construction sites and a number of other factors. It opened a year later, and that's that's part of it, but it's open now, and we're lucky to have it and grateful.
So you mentioned that you have done some. The public has been able to take some courses. Those are fee for credit.
Yep. Those are fee for service, non-credit courses. And
will you be doing them again?
Yeah, we're going to be looking to roll out a new catalog and advertising for this summer and next fall.
So people can do that.
Yeah.
So the second project I want to talk about is the one that's in progress. It's almost done. It's the Advanced Manufacturing Institute, better known as AMI, around this the parts around this building. What is the Advanced Manufacturing Institute?
So the Advanced Manufacturing Institute is on our Fulton campus. The Auburn campus opened an institute back in 2016, 15 and 16, and that was related to plastic technology. This particular program has been one that's been worked on the Fulton campus for a number of years. Having a facility to support the curriculum, to support manufacturer workforce needs, has been a real barrier to getting something off the ground. So we have worked for a couple of years to try to secure the funding and the support of our college foundation, the support of a number of private partners, and the match of capital funds from the State University of New York has allowed us to build nearly a $600,000 plus facility within our Fulton campus that'll be focused in manufacturing and electrical technology.
And that will open when?
Well, we were hoping that it would open in spring semester, but mentioned some of the supply chain issues. It's been a little bit delayed. We're hoping to be able to have an opening event in May and to be able to begin recruiting to have programming in there as early as fall.
So in that case, do you walk out of there with a degree, or is this specific to? So you have a regional manufacturing council.
Yeah.
That is, Hudamakia, Novellis, Fulton, a number of them. They've all been advising you on this.
They've all been advising us, and so there's been a team of industry leaders working with our faculty, working with our leadership on our Fulton campus to identify both credit and non-credit programs or certificates that can lead to an individual having the right background and training to get hired to serve.
So not necessarily like culinary or unlike culinary.
It's not necessarily a full, an associate's degree. It may be, but it also could be other experiences in the non-credit side.
All right, so 60 days, that'll ribbon cutting there. So let's talk about the one that's on the drawing board, and that's just that way, I think. That is the Cornell Cooperative Extension Building on Durant Ave. I mentioned Lascas for those who may not remember where it is, but what is that property has been transferred to the college or the county on behalf of the college?
Yes. So this project, I think, is a real exciting one, and actually has probably been in process since before the other two really were taking off, and that is, working with the local Cooperative Extension Board and partnering with them, getting a gift of the property to the college that the county is holding in trust for us, has really allowed our institution to create a vision for a county workforce development center, which is going to centralize the college's workforce development, enrichment offices, and also we'll be looking to centralize and partner with Cayuga Works, County Unemployment, and a number of other agencies to be able to be in a central building that I think will just strengthen the identity within our community of workforce development, training, retooling for work. And we're excited about not just co-locating, but what are the ways that we can partner together to be able to enhance the services we offer to individuals and to be able to continue to, I think, strengthen our own programming with workforce itself. So this is something that we're really looking forward to, and it's going to be about a $3.5 million project.
So Emily Cameron and her team for workforce development will go over there. Cornell Cooperative Extension was there. They're over here in the rotunda. and they will go back over.
Right. They're currently here in the rotunda because we've actually been doing some of the demolition work and other, sort of pre-construction work with in-house, some of our in-house staff as we prepare for the next steps.
So where are you in the process now?
We're hopeful that within about a month, a month and a half or so, we'll be able to put this project out to bid, formally break ground on the renovation this summer, and we anticipate this project to be, well over a year of construction.
So you also, among all of this, have purchased some additional land next to the daycare center on Wall Street. What did you pick up and why?
So our childcare evolution has been rather significant over the last 6 or 7 years. We expanded on our Auburn campus, and then working through the support of our FSA in the state of New York, Faculty Student Association, in the state of New York, we were actually able to acquire our current facility on Wall Street, formerly known as the Neighborhood House, and we renovated that facility, put over $1 million into it, and expanded the number of families that we were able to serve. And at capacity, in a non-COVID time, that particular facility will help us serve, nearly 135 to 40 children at any given time. Recently, as part of Visioning for the Future, we've been able to acquire property next to their main building on Wall Street. It's about 1.5 lots in the city. That's going to allow us to, really consider a number of options moving forward, enhancing green space, possible expansion, improving part of the play space for students, parking to increase some safety. And, at this point, it's in the early planning stages, but, securing that parcel allows us great flexibility and I think options as we move forward.
But you got some good news. If you looked at the front page of the Citizen today, you got $108,000 roughly that Governor Hochul has announced. Was that A, a surprise, and B, what's it going to?
So that particular grant is one that, we're glad that it's announced. We've known about it for, we've hoped for it for a little bit, and it's allowing us to add some increased staffing and support for our students to be able to, again, keep costs down, be able to serve our families, and to be able to, continue to, to be proud of what we're able to do in the child care center. And, just quickly, the child care center is an example of something just like manufacturing, just like workforce development, just like Falcon Park, the project in our athletic field, our partnership with the city. And, each of these things, AMI, each of these things, they come with, what are some regional concerns, opportunities for improvement, whether it be human resources, whether it be training people for jobs, whether it be matching with a local industry that has a need. Each of these items, each of these initiatives, really align not only with institutional visioning or our mission, but also being able to try to address a local issue, need, or create a pipeline for future employment. And childcare was one of those. We recognize it's a major need, continues to be. We've been able to expand. Maybe some other point, if appropriate, we'll expand even further.
So you're the president of the college, so we're going to give you an extra 5 minutes because there's another announcement you've made in the last couple of days. So traditionally, where and when has commencement been?
Okay, so traditionally, I hope I'm right about this. Traditionally, commencement has always been, at least to my knowledge, has always been on a Sunday in May. And I believe it's typically the third or fourth Sunday of the month.
It's always been in Spartan Hall. Well,
it's always
since Spartan Hall.
Yeah. As far as I know, it's been a Spartan Hall. And, this year, we were really looking at, back in the fall, we were really trying to look at commencement for, 2022. Unfortunately, over the last 2 years, since the pandemic in spring 2020, we have been unable to offer an in-person commencement ceremony.
So 20, you just did videos, and
we did a virtual ceremony that was released at some point midsummer.
And then 21.
And then in 21, we did a virtual ceremony that was a little bit more enhanced, had opportunity for slight participation, and we actually released that on what would have been the commencement day.
And so you're making changes. There's two major changes. What are you changing?
Well, the first change is we're going to hold this year's ceremony at Falcon Park. And Falcon Park, for those that may be a little, unfamiliar, is home of our athletic program, our outdoor athletic program. And so we, and thinking back in the fall about making sure we could have a ceremony no matter what the world circumstance was related to the pandemic at the time, we knew outside needed to be our option. And so
And there's not, it used to be in the traffic circle there's about 30 trees
oh,
in the front. So
yeah, there
where
wouldn't
somebody
be,
might remember from the 80s,
yeah,
there's no green space here.
yeah, there wouldn't be the green space to do.
So the nature trail would look interesting.
Yeah, that would be bring a dynamic.
Have to have everybody walk. So you're
So we're moving to Falcon Park because that'll limit the restrictions other than perhaps vaccination status, depending what the SUNY protocols at the time. So we're moving to Falcon Park. The other big change is that we're going to have it on a Thursday evening. I think Thursday, May 19th. It's going to be in the evening.
6:30. So do you see this as a permanent change?
I don't think we've made that determination yet. We're looking to see how it goes, and we know that Spartan Hall in the past has not been air conditioned, although with the support of our foundation, a few initiatives, we hope to address that soon. But for right now, we're looking forward to have a full community together. Probably be our first time really since the pandemic, and to celebrate our students who deserve that.
You mentioned Falcon Park. I just want to ask, you opened up Falcon Park in the fall of 19. Right. Had some events there. How's it been going?
Well, we were able to. It's been going well. Our teams have been able to, have contests down there. It has been a little bit of a struggle during the pandemic. Some of our sports programs have not been able to run as scheduled. Some of it because of the pandemic.
But I meant is the facility. How's the facility?
The facility itself has been absolutely tremendous. Just last week, I was able to attend our opening baseball game.
2 wins.
We had 2 wins. We're excited about that. But what was remarkable about it as I was sitting there was just the day before, we're clearing off snow. The temperature rises up into the mid to high 40s. The sun comes out. It's melted. It's dry. Baseball game goes on. And then, over the weekend, we all know we had a number of snow, and we're back to it again this week. So that facility, that turf has allowed us to transform what we can offer our students. But even bigger than that, I know that other colleges in the area and region are using it. I know our high school programs have been able to use it. So it's a very proud moment, for me personally, professionally, to be able to see that facility used so often.
A versatile
facility that meets community visioning, certainly the city's visioning, and be able to serve our programs in our college so well.
Dr. Durant, thank you.
Thank you.
32 minutes goes fairly fast. We didn't get to talk more about athletics and registration, but we'll love to have you back on to talk about that. But our guest has been Cayuga Community College's president, Brian Durant, and we want to thank him for joining us to give us an update about not only what has gone on during COVID, what building plans they have, but also to give us further updates on what has been going on and what is planned for both campuses. We had planned to return in just a moment with a Beyond the Front Page with Melissa Kanga-Cartner of the YMCA, but unfortunately there are some staffing needs down at the downtown Y in some of the elementary schools that she has to attend to. We're going to reschedule her for about 2 weeks to talk about the great programs up at the Y. We'll be back on Thursday with 2 back-to-back Inside Government shows. The first with New York State Senators Pamela Helming, and the second with Assemblyman Brian McElroy. We'll get the Senate and Assembly updates respectively, and then we'll also be asking questions about a couple of items. One is the state budget process and where it is. The state budget for 22-23 is due on April 1st. We'll talk about the closure of 6 prisons last week and the performance of new Governor Kathy Hochul so far, among other topics that we will have. You can always send us your ideas or questions or comments to cozguytho@aol.com. But we'll have in the next couple of weeks several guests. Cayuga County Legislative Chairman David Gould will be back here. Auburn City Manager Jeff Digert will be in. The Auburn Housing Authority's Executive Director Stephanie Hutchinson will be here. On Tuesday, we will be talking about Falcon Park because we'll have the double days here to talk about what their season is. And Adam Effler, dealing with Owasco Lake, will be in as well. The school district's Jeff Perzola and Lisa Green will talk about the Auburn's proposed budget that will go before voters in May, the first week of April. And then we'll also have our annual Auburn Large School District Forum on May 3rd. So let us know if you have any questions or ideas for any of those guests. You can, again, send those to cozguytho@aol.com or Inside Government, 141 Dunning Avenue, Auburn, New York, 13021. I'm Guy Cosentino for Cayuga Community College. We want to thank you for watching. Have a good night. Have a great tomorrow. Be safe and be masked.